They asked me if I'd debate Jeannie Scott, the president of the National Center for Science Education. We had a 30-minute debate. She spoke for 27 minutes.
Oh.
I was trying to be a gentleman. Not next time. Okay. I went and visited their headquarters in Berkeley, California, and this guy kept walking past. I'm just looking at their little bookstore, in there. And this guy kept walking by, looking at me, and he'd walk in the office. He'd come out and walk by and look at me. Finally, he walked over. He said, "Are you Kent Hovind?" "Yes, sir." He said, "Oh, no, you're standing in our building." I said, "Well, it's because I can't fly." He said, "When I left, they taped a piece of paper on the floor. Kent Hovind stood here, and they go by and go like this all the time, whatever that means. I don't know. Bunch of atheists, So,
atheists doing the sign of the cross.
Before
that's good.
I went to prison, there were 2,000 anti-Hovind websites.
2,000?
Yeah, I was trying for 3.
Yeah,
but
you
they
don't
took
get hate mail, you get hate websites.
I do.
That's it.
I think it's hilarious. When I got out of prison just 9 months ago, I started doing I'd never heard of YouTube. I didn't know what YouTube was. They changed a lot of technology while I was in.
Oh, that's
They brought the outhouse into the building, put the flush thing on there, and all kinds, no more corn cob, all that. Anyway, so all kinds of things changed, but so I didn't know what YouTube was. And the guy said, "Kent, you need to do a YouTube." I said, "What is it?" He said, "Here, I'll buy you a little $60 camera," and plugged it into the computer. And we've had 3.8 million views just in the last couple of months that have been out of prison from YouTube. And people call us every day. We get calls and letters every day from people getting saved, just having the simple truth explained to them. God's word is correct. You don't have to compromise it. It fits exactly correct. So, if I was the devil, I would hate this little ministry we have because we're striking at the heart of His kingdom. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was embarrassed to find out when I was in prison that God's law given to the children of Israel never calls for prisons. I was one of those who was guilty of tough on crime. 3 strikes, you're out. Lock them up, throw away the key kind of stuff. That is cruel, evil, awful. In the Bible, you get a fine, a beating, or executed. One of the 3. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You steal my sheep, you pay back 4 sheep. Everybody goes home happy. I got 4 more sheep. Come steal another one. Or you get a beating. I see with a beating, you had to lay down in the court, and the judge had to watch what that sentence just did, and never more than 40 stripes, okay?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Today, the judge just says, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and it's just a number to them, and they go home and have supper while you have to serve out what they just said. I asked over 1,000 men while I was in prison, I said, "Fellas, let me ask a simple question. If after you were found guilty at trial, you were given the option, and the judge said, would you like 5 years or 20 lashes? Which would you take?" All of them said the 20 lashes. I said, "Which would be cheaper for society?" 20 lashes. "Which would be better for your family?" 20 lashes. Because now it's just nearly a 100% divorce rate. If you go to prison more than a year, it's almost certain your family's going to leave you. Mm-hmm. Nearly certain. Okay. The system is evil and cruel. The only good thing I saw about the whole prison system, it provides jobs for people that are otherwise unemployable.
Do we not have the highest rate of
incarceration
on the planet?
America has 4% of the world's population and 26% of the world's prisoners.
And are you not really kind of an ideal person to put in prison because you're not a violent offender? I mean, they can put you to work doing prison jobs.
Everybody that goes to federal prisons has to get a job. So they would say, "Kent, you got to get a job." They pay $5.25 a month.
Yeah. Okay, all right.
They said, "Where would you like to work?" I said, "Well, I taught math and science for 15 years. I have a PhD in education. I'd like to work in education." And they'd put me in the kitchen. I'm telling you, brother, never mind.
Beautiful,
so
beautiful.
They moved me all over the place. I was really embarrassed to find out that most of the federal prisons and federal courthouses are on land that they're leasing from a private individual. For instance, Yazoo City, Mississippi, the last place I was, over 1,000-acre prison. The land is owned by Haley Barbour, the former Republican right-wing, conservative governor of Mississippi. Mm-hmm. He's got a 99-year lease on it.
Wow, so he
His
makes
son,
a lot
Haley
of
Barber,
money on that.
well, his son, Haley Barber Jr., is the chief federal judge in Jackson, Mississippi. I don't know if that's a conflict of interest in anybody else's book, but it sure looks like one to me.
Ah,
And I'm not afraid to speak out about it. They're probably looking to listen to this tape. Well, how can we get him again? They were about to release me from prison, and they brought a new charge against me for mail fraud, which carries a 20-year sentence. They were going to try to give me 20 more years.
oh, mail fraud. So what did you do
They
to
said I
call that one
mailed.
out?
They said I mailed a letter to the courthouse with a lis pendens. Litigation is pending, which is what you're supposed to do. If somebody's going to sell property and there's still litigation about it, you're supposed to notify people, hey, litigation is still pending. You know, you might want to look twice before you buy this property because you may lose it. So since they're fighting, they seized not only the bank account, they seized all the church ministry property. And so we sent a letter. I don't remember if I mailed it or had it delivered by a friend of mine. I don't know. But if I mailed it, they said, yeah, it went over the mail. It's okay to mail the letter if it doesn't go over a federal zone. What is it? What? So they were trying to prove that that letter went over a federal zone. I said, I don't know what a federal zone is. And so finally, some people came to the rescue and said, this is insane. They're going to put this man in prison for 20 more years for mailing a letter? And they almost did. The jury, it was 11-1. One juror held out and said, no, stop. This one guy who was on the jury knew about what's called jury nullification. See, years ago, the founders of this country set it up really well, okay? One juror can say, hey, that law is invalid, or that law is not being properly applied. For instance, if they passed a law that said you can't spit on the sidewalk in Charlotte, North Carolina, okay, and you think the law is stupid, okay? So you get on the jury, they got a videotape, here comes the guy, he spits on the sidewalk, and the attorney says, look at this evil man spreading diseases, or whatever they do, After you just nod your head, quietly nod, it's obvious he's guilty. But you vote not guilty to nullify the law. The law is stupid. Why on earth is the federal government involved in education at all? Why are they, well, yeah, the founders of this country gave us a constitution, and the 10th Amendment says if it's not spelled out in this document, which is only like 7 pages, if it's not spelled out here, they don't have authority at the federal government.
Right.
Okay, well, that's real simple. The federal government's got no business being involved in education, welfare. Somebody said, well, you think if somebody's starving, don't you think the government should feed them? Well, why don't we have auto care? You blow up your engine, we'll buy you a new engine. Why don't we have house care? House needs a new roof, the federal government will buy you one. Why don't we have clothing care? You wear out your shoes, we'll buy you a new pair. Where does it stop? It's none of their business. What are they doing what's their business in a drug war? What's this war on drugs? If I was king, and I'm not running for the job, somebody asked me last November, they said, Kent, who are you for president? And on my YouTube channel, November 17th, you might want to watch that one, Kent Hovind Official. I said, I'm going to shock you folks, but I am for Hillary Clinton for president of Antarctica. And I gave my 14 reasons why.
Wait, where do you think you're going? You're not done yet. You got to subscribe if you want to see more of this stuff. Just click the button up here. Better yet, you can click here to watch more right now. And if you like what you see, support what we do. Donate here to keep the broadcast coming. Thank you.